Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the Endo channel. To any new souls out there, my name is Brittany Denson. Thank you so much for logging on. Please consider subscribing to help support my channel. If you don't know how to subscribe, it's super simple. It is a red button down below by the description box. While we're on that note, description box, for those of you that do not know and that have asked, the description box is a little tiny triangle down below underneath the video itself. It's kind of like a drop-down menu and the description box will appear. So today is a follow-up video of my consultation with a true endometriosis expert, Dr. Dulemba. Unfortunately, the last 10 minutes or so of that video, it decided to stop working. So I did want to get the last 10 minutes or so of that consultation to you all. So stay tuned. At the end of this video, you can watch the last few minutes of that clip. Upcoming on the Endo channel, we are back in the kitchen with my Endo kitchen, with a protein-packed recipe, red lentils. And getting fit with Britt, we are hitting the gym with chest day. If you are not already following me on Facebook and Instagram, my links are below. Make sure to come find me and say hey when you do. Stay tuned to my channel. I will be documenting my whole entire journey through my surgery, my second look surgery. If you haven't watched the video, you'll see him reference the second look surgery. I really feel that this is going to be life-changing for me. His whole idea and theory behind adhesions and the healing process and why he offers the second look surgery just makes so much sense to me. So I will be not only having excision robotic surgery with him, but he will be doing the second look as well. So stay tuned. Okay, before we get right into the last 10 minutes of that endometriosis consultation that messed up, yes, if you liked this video, please help support my channel by giving this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a bit with Britt. We'll see you next time.
I'm flashing back. You know, I'm 21 again. You know, like, oh. You know, I have about over 1,700 endometriosis cases with the robot. There's probably a few doctors that might have more robotic cases, but there's nobody that has more endometriosis robotic cases than I do, because I'm 100% robot. And there's some doctors that will only do the hard cases with the robot. I'm like, no, hard or easy, I'm 100% robot. And it's just like anything, when your muscle memory, when you do the exact same thing all the time, is better. That's the background. So now let's compare standard laparoscopy to robot laparoscopy. Why do I do it? Well, for one, standard laparoscopy is two-dimensional. It's 2D. You can see quite a bit, but it's two-dimensional. Mine's 3D. And if you don't think 3D is important, drive home with one eye. You're better with two. Now, you can get really good with one eye. Our vision is magnified 10 times. You can magnify standard laparoscopy, but they're holding the camera. And if you have a small imperceptible movement, even a 1/5 of an inch, 10 times magnification is 2 inches. Yeah. So if you think you're not moving at all, the TV screen's moving like this. And you could be accurate and precise, but if you're cutting around the bow, then you're a little less accurate and precise when it's moving. So 3D, 10 times magnification versus 2D. Then the surgeon is standing next to the patient, laparoscopically. You know, and every patient is different. You have tall, short, anywhere in between. So your arms are always in different positions. And mine, I'm always in the exact same position as memory seat. So I just push, and all my instruments, the foot pedals, everything, all go, armrests all go to the same spot. And mine's padded, so I'm just sitting relaxed like this. Mm-hmm. So just like you said, you were pacing. If you were standing with some of your arms outstretched for the last 2.5 hours, you know, you'd be more fatigued than me sitting here like this.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the human nature. And the more fatigued we get, the less accurate and precise we become. So there's less fatigue, surgeon fatigue. Then the instruments laparoscopically are straight. They can reach different areas. They can kind of torque and come up and, you know, torque back this way or come in this way to get to there. So there's, you know, you reach the same areas I reach, but mine have elbow and wrist action, 520 degrees of rotation of the wrist and elbow. So it's like putting my hands in there. Then the instrument movements laparoscopically are opposite movements, like a seesaw. So in other words, on a seesaw, when one person goes down, the other person goes up. So on the outside, where your hand is holding the instrument, if you move it this way, the tip on the inside goes the opposite way. Mine, if I go to the right, it goes to the right. That's called an intuitive movement versus counterintuitive movement. Then I can scale my movements. In other words, if I move an inch, the tip moves an inch. Or I can scale it back. If I move an inch, it moves 1/5 of an inch. So when you compare all those, what sounds like or seems like it might be more accurate and precise? The robot or the standard laparoscopy? Without a doubt, the robot. The problem is the doctors that don't do robot will never say that. Because if they said, well, I do standard laparoscopy, but yes, the robot is more accurate and precise, then patients are going to go, let's see, 2 experts? I'm going to the robot.
Exactly.
Right. So if you go online, they go, it's just a tool. It's just a tool. You need to go to the expert surgeon. Yeah, it's just a tool, but it makes you the accurate surgeon more accurate. But the problem is, say these guys said, you know what, Dulemba's right. I'm going to convert. Do you want to be their first patient? No. Because it takes a while to get your skill level up to where it is laparoscopically. And they're in their comfort zone, so they don't want to change. Plus, if they've got 3,000 or 4,000 cases laparoscopically, and I've got 1,700, you know, they get asked to speak, okay? If they start doing the robot and they've got 30 cases and I've got 1,700, who are they going to ask to speak? Me.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ego involved in all of this. Now, that doesn't mean everything's perfect. Doesn't mean that we are, you know, the best in the world. I think I am. But besides that, you know, we can still have complications. We can have anything that you can have on a standard laparoscopy, an open case, any of that. There are some negatives to it, though. Initially, you lose some tactile sense because the patient's over there and I'm at a console. But you develop a visual tactile sense because we can very quickly, actually, because you can actually take sutures, they're called 8-0, which is thinner than a hair. And when you're trying to tie it, most of the time you can almost not see it with your eyesight. You have to have magnified to see it. And I taught somebody, it was actually a doctor's wife from the UK, she was a nurse, to tie and suture overcooked ziti, because we were pretending like it was the ureter, the tube from the kidney, and I overcooked it on purpose so that it would be very, you know, you could cut right through it very easily on 8-0. Okay, so that's thinner than a hair. She was able, in 20 minutes, first couple times she wasn't able to do it, but she was able to put it in there and tie a knot and not damage the overcooked ziti and not break the stitch. She developed a visual tactile sense. You just looked at things. And when you do it enough now, I can even tell when my assistant is there, if I'm mad at him, I go like this, he goes, oh! Yeah, because I knew my arm was hitting him. And I'm in here, you know. So you develop a tactile sense, a visual. And then, of course, some of the guys will yell and say, yeah, but you won't be able to feel a mass in the vagina. I'm like, I'm not glued to my seat. If you're standing next to the patient, you take your hand and you can put it in the vagina, right? Because you put a glove on and do it, yeah. Well, what's to prevent me from getting up from my chair, putting the glove on and doing the same thing? So, you know, and of course the incisions are a little bit higher.
Oh, they are? Okay.
Yes. The laparoscopic incisions are usually lower down, more like a bikini there in the belly button. We use the same belly button, but our 2 incisions are lateral to the belly button.
Okay.
And then our assistant port is higher up.
Okay.
The ones that they use laparoscopically are 5 millimeters. 25 millimeters is an inch. These two are 8 millimeters.
Okay.
But everybody goes, well, they're bigger. I'm like, well, 3 millimeters.
Yeah.
Now, the assistant port is bigger because that's where we take out some specimens and stuff like that and put needles down. So it's usually 12 millimeters.
Okay.
So it's almost half an inch versus the 1/5 of an inch or an 1/8 of an inch.
Okay.
It's a little bit bigger. That's the difference between the robot and standard laparoscopy. So once we get in there, if there's endometriosis, we cut it out. If there's scar tissue, we cut it out. That's adhesions, we cut it out. If the appendix is abnormal, we take it. We try and address anything that's in there causing pain. Now, the one thing we can't address is the uterus with the adenomyosis. So we offer to some patients what's called a PSN, pre-sacral neurectomy. That's the nerve that goes to the uterus, and we cut that. And about 50 to 60% of patients where we cut the nerve, they don't have uterine pain as much or at all with their uterus when they're having a cycle. But in about 10% of the patients, it's the same nerve that goes to the bladder and the bowel. And some patients might have chronic urination, chronic constipation. That's the PSN. And that's if you leave the organs. A much more aggressive surgery, which is done the exact same way with removal of the uterus and sometimes that remaining ovary. You take the uterus, no more periods, no more adenomyosis. So minimum, you fixed some of your triple X in there. Okay. Now remember, your double X or triple X also was over there on the left, where there is no tube and ovary. So that shows you that that's not always a guarantee by removing things that the pain will always be gone. Right. But there's reasons why it might not be gone. Most likely adhesions. Okay. Then the right ovary, if you leave it, it still causes pain. It still causes PMS. Yes, you're going to be ovulating, and everybody goes, I want my own hormones. I'm like, okay, but that doesn't always mean good.
Right.
If you remember one of the questions I asked you way in the beginning, how did you feel emotionally on birth control pills? Right? So say we take your uterus, tube, and ovary. Okay, it's gone. You're in menopause. 80% of women need hormones in menopause. 20% don't. There's 20% that go, I feel great. No, so they don't need hormones. The 80% do. The majority of the time we give them estrogen. But just say I gave you estrogen and you didn't feel as good as you wanted to feel. Guess what I could give you as hormone replacement? Birth control pills.
Okay.
We don't have to worry about bleeding. Now, could people go, well, won't that stimulate my endometriosis? Well, possibly. But our goal with your ovary removed is to get your hormonal status better, how you feel. Ideally, I would have removed all the endometriosis. As I said, ideally. Realistically, no. But I think the majority of people with their pain, it's adhesions more so than endometriosis. But that's not to say that you couldn't have pain from endometriosis. So that's why you would start off with lower dose, but know you would have your own your birth control pills as a fallback. But if endometriosis is stimulated with hormones and you keep your ovary, it's worse than birth control pills. So that's what we can offer. I keep everybody overnight, whether they're keeping their organs, using them, leaving them, taking them, anywhere in between. It's still outpatient surgery, but it's a 23-hour observation. Because to me, for you to go home, I'm a guy, even I'm in medicine, at 3 o'clock in the morning, somebody says, I need a drink of water, would you get it? Your first thought is, no, I'm sleeping. But you know that she's had surgery, and your life would be miserable if you said no. So you go, yes, honey, I'll get it. And they go, This way, if you're in the hospital, the nurses are there. At this point, my talk is done. Patients go, what do you recommend? And I'm like, I'm a surgeon. I like to do surgery. I get paid to do surgery. You know what I would pick. It has the best outcome, long-term pain relief. I mean, yeah, that's what I pick. But that doesn't mean that's what you want or what you need. So I urge patients to look at their symptoms, decide how they impact their lives, and decide what option from there, including from doing nothing all the way up to removal of organs. So, questions for me?
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you never miss a bit with Britt. We'll see you next time.